What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I want to talk about some very important technical developments that have happened over the weekend and break down some big news coming out for Tesla. It's going to be very telling for tomorrow. But before I break anything down about what's going on with the markets, before I talk about the government shutdown news that just came out and what's going on with Jerome Powell's speech for tomorrow, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you put in $1,000, you're guaranteed 10 free stocks. And if you put in $1,000, you are guaranteed 16 free stocks. One of them is guaranteed to be a free Tesla or Google share. And at the same time, any stock could be worth up to $2,000. All right, so if you want those 5 free stocks, you just have to put in $100. The link is down below. The offer is your choice, and it ends in just 2 weeks. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. So I just wanted to mention that Tesla has some very big news coming out on its own, and it's going to be, I guess, to some extent affected by these external factors, but more affected by its deliveries coming out very soon. But for the whole market, we have some big news that came out involving the government shutdown news, and this is going to be very telling for tomorrow. Now, the market was very fearful. The market was just very scared. Sentiment was being driven by fear, and this is starting to shift less in the fearful direction and getting closer to neutral. So the market is still way here, but I believe it's going to start shifting a little bit this way as we have some new catalysts out there to help alleviate some of this fear. And that is this news right here. Joe Biden and Congress have come to an agreement and they have signed a 45-day funding bill to keep the government open. Now, this is very important because this has helped to decrease the amount of fear that was driving the markets. This is going to help alleviate lots of uncertainty, and this is technically going to be bullish news for the time being. So I do believe this is going to help the market pump, especially when we open tomorrow. I believe that this was something that had to happen, or else a lot of these politicians would be in like very, very tough positions for their own selves. So, at the end of the day, I mean, I consider this decent news. I mean, at least they're doing something. And with that said, this could help the market to some extent. Now, yes, to some extent, that's going to help the market pump. Most likely, yes, when we start off. But I just want to remind you all that we have the manufacturing PMI coming out 15 minutes and then 30 minutes after the market opens. I don't think this is going to be enough to really cause the market to just reverse from there. I think the market is going to try to keep going. But then here's the thing. At about 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech again. So with Jerome Powell giving a speech, I am predicting that the market's going to just like pump approaching his speech. But I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen afterwards. It could just be a giant nothing burger, or it could be Powell saying something that causes the market to shake. Who knows? So we have to be very careful at about 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time when we have Powell's speech. Now, approaching this, I think the market's going to pump and hold up decently, but then after his speech, who knows what's going to happen? It's best to be prepared nonetheless. Now, when it comes to Tesla, I just want to mention that when it comes to their deliveries, that's going to be coming out tomorrow. That's going to cause a very big move for the stock. Now, the estimates have been around this 440 to 460,000 area. Wall Street seems to be expecting around 454,000 plus or so. The thing is, Tesla did seem to be on track to reach its goal, but things could be changing because of the longer than expected downtime of the factories in Shanghai and Austin, not to mention potential slowdowns for the month of September. There have been some declines in their like Chinese sales in September, not to mention in for also in European sales. So I'm not going to make any like promises about the numbers. We'll just have to see what happens tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see at this point, and that's going to be very telling for the stock as a whole. So as far as the market goes, I think the market has a bullish potential approaching Jerome Powell's speech. I don't know what's going to happen after his speech, though. Those are things you just can't always predict. And then when it comes to Tesla, it's not going to be as affected by these bullish pieces of news, but more affected by its own deliveries. All right. So what do I see for Tesla? I mean, if deliveries come out a little bit later, we could see Tesla kind of like pop a little bit to start off, but then if deliveries end up being lower than expected, if we get something a bit below like 450,000, that's going to be bearish in my opinion. I think Tesla's going to start sinking towards these lower levels and start dropping back down to 240 or even below that, right? If we get strong deliveries and Tesla ends up beating expectations and they give us at least 460 plus thousand, there's a chance that could actually help Tesla pop towards this 260 plus area. My gut tells me it's not going to be the best looking at the data I have looked at. I think the odds do favor the downside, a little bit lower than expected numbers, but just to be safe, we'll just have to wait and see for Tesla. Now, for the market, for SPY, In my previous videos, I was talking about how we have a possible head and shoulders developing on the 30 minutes time frame. My guts tells me it's going to try to invalidate this now that we had the bullish news, and that instead this cup and handle information could be more valid. With that being said, we could be forming a cup and handle so long as we try to break and hold above the high that we saw right here at 429. If we break 429, I'm expecting 430, then potentially 432 above that. My guts tells me this cup and handle is going to play out for now. We're going to see the market pump approaching Jerome Powell's speech, and SPY is going to break 430 and then possibly go all the way up to 432, approaching Powell, and then Powell is going to determine where we go from there. But the market should bounce after the bullish news came out about the government shutdown being temporarily delayed, or at least just like stopped for the time being. So that could be bullish for now. The IWM should be pushing for 178 plus and start pushing after that. I'm leaning more in that direction. Aapl had a head and shoulders developing on the 30 minutes time frame, but we may try to invalidate this after the bullish news just came out. So with fear potentially being diminished, I believe that we could be forming a potential inverse head and shoulders on Aapl now, and we might see Aapl try to push for 174 very soon. And then Jerome Powell's speech could change everything, but we're just gonna be watching approaching that. I think there's gonna be upside approaching Powell's speech, and after Powell, who knows what's going to happen. QQQ has a potential cup and handle. We could be watching this thing break 362. We want to see it break out first. As of right now, there's some signs of strength, but we want to be patient. Nvidia looks like it's going to try to retest this 200 EMA at this 442 area. We also have a very, very nice looking accumulation structure. On the daily, when you zoom out, right, this accumulation looks more and more evident when you look at the chart from this perspective. Very, very nice looking potential development in this accumulation right here. You could also zoom in a little bit more and then see this potential bullish crossover on the PPO on the daily. So it's not looking bad whatsoever. I think that there's upside potential for Nvidia. And I believe that this thing has the potential to push up for 442 again, make an attempt to break this. If it breaks, then I'm going to be watching this imbalance towards 450. I think that could be tested too. I think approaching Jerome Powell 442 is on the table. Then we'll see what happens after that. I think Microsoft is going to break out as well towards this 318 area again. Make an attempt to hold it this time around. We have a potential inverse head and shoulders now. We may invalidate our head and shoulders. And as long as we hold above this 315 support, I could see this thing going for 320 plus. For AMD, we look more bullish. Just like Nvidia, I think AMD is going to be potentially trying to complete this cup and handle like formation. Could decline a little bit more towards 102, then try to bounce and start pushing for 105 plus. I think that's the most likely move approaching Jerome Powell. For the VIX, we have a potential head and shoulders developing on the chart, which could be favoring the bulls, at least the bulls for like the overall market a little bit more. That's going to be very, very telling and very important. I just wanted to mention that it's very important that we are ready for what's about to come anyways. So anyways, going back into this, we have a potential head and shoulders right here. We have this left shoulder here, the head, the right shoulder forming. Look for a little pump before this thing starts declining. If this thing breaks below 16, then it's going to start declining more, which could be a bullish signal for the markets. The dollar index right now, it's still looking a little weaker, like it's on a downtrend, but there's no guarantee yet, as this could be an inverse head and shoulders forming. I do see it declining a little bit, at least towards 106 again, so that could be bullish, but we'll have to see if that breaks or not. For Coinbase, I think this thing is going to be breaking out very, very soon. So we have a potential cup and handle as well on Coinbase. This could also be an inverse head and shoulders. So watch for a retest of this 73.5 area to 74, then a balance for 78 after that. For Google, you're going to be watching to see if we can form this inverse head and shoulders. I believe Google has the potential to bounce from here and push for 134 now that the bullish news just came out. So I believe it's going to approach that when it comes to Jerome Powell's speech as we approach it. For Amazon, you're going to be watching for this thing to retest 130 for a potential cup and handle. A breakout is definitely imminent and on the table now that we have this inverse head and shoulder structure. I believe Amazon is going to attempt to complete this cup right here and hit this like 130 area at the 50 EMA retest. And then for Meta, it all depends on different factors. For Meta, it's kind of mixed right now. If it breaks below 298, I could turn bearish on Meta because then 295 would be on the table. If it bounces off the 200 EMA, I could be watching this thing push for this previous resistance around this 305 area. So hopefully that was helpful, guys. I just want to keep this as simple as possible, not really overcomplicate any TA. So I'm going to be watching this thing potentially retest this 305 area if we get a bounce right here. Going to be looking for it to at least hold 298. If it does so, that's going to be likely on the table. All right, so hopefully this video was helpful. I want the best for everyone. Please know that the market has some potential upside approaching Jerome Powell's speech, but then after Powell gives his speech tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m., that's going to be very telling, and we'll see what happens after that. All right, until then, just know that Tesla is going to be on its own this time around, depending on deliveries, and just get ready for what's about to come for the markets. Thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and peace out.